welcome to Will Carsola, the greatest bearded man ever to do animation, in my opinion, at least within the 2010s. Did Walt Disney have a beard? Fuck that guy.
I don't think so.
I think he was just
mustache, maybe.
I think, yeah, he had definitely the Hitler mustache. I know he was extremely anti-Semitic. He's definitely friends with Henry Ford. But yeah, so
Thanks
you
for
met
having me on here.
Oh well, hey, thank you because this is the first interview I've ever done with anybody ever, and I've been a fan of Mr. Pickles like since it came out because when I discovered it, I was living in Atlanta. I was like, oh shit, like Adult Swim is from here, and so I could see like the Adult Swim headquarters, and I was like, oh fuck, William Street is right there. That shit is so dope. So let's see. So people know you from Mr. Pickles, Momma Named Me Sheriff. Mr. Pickles came out in 2013 originally. And also, too, if you're like me and you want to save the planet, you've probably also seen this logo, which Will created. And it's fucking dope. The skulls are fucking dope.
Pickles aired in 2014, but we started, creating it in 2012.
Okay. We're going to have to tell Google that because they were fucking around. We're going to have to inform. We're going to have to inform IMDb, Google. We're going to have to inform Microsoft Edge. Because I heard, the most popular browser out there. Like with Macintosh and Safari. I think
is Microsoft Edge. Is that a new one or is that an old one?
It's just the shittiest internet browser possible. So when we were talking for the first time on the phone the other day, we were talking about animating in Flash. And I remember when I first started out, it was like 2000, 2003. I think I told you it was just me and my friends in high school. I'm like skipping lunch and just going to the computer lab where we took our HTML classes. Still no HTML. I know more Flash than HTML. But this was back in the days of Macromedia Flash, which is now Adobe Animate. So what was the struggle like back then with using Flash to animate?
My animations that I did before Mr. Pickles, I did in this weird roundabout way that I think I've only met one person who ever did it the same way, which is I would draw in Photoshop with a mouse, by the way. Like I didn't have a Cintiq or something to, like a computer to draw on digitally. I would draw everything with a mouse, and then I would draw it in Photoshop and send the JPEGs to Final Cut Pro. Move things around.
You import them frame by frame.
Pretty much frame by frame, and then I would do some kind of like puppeting here and there with just these roundabout ways that I figured out. I mean, the animation then didn't look great compared to Mr. Pickles, but when we we're going to make the pilot, we brought on Mike Mayfield, who ended up being the animation director for Mr. Pickles, and he kind of he's who showed me the basics of using Animate, and that's what the whole crew used to make the show, from character design, background design, and animation. But I still to this day prefer designing in Flash. Because it's vector based.
Yeah.
I have it open right now. I was drawing in it earlier. But yeah, I still don't have as much of in-depth knowledge of it as others, but it's fun. It is confusing that it's called Animate now, though.
Yeah. But, I hated it when Adobe took away, it was called like Adobe Story for screenwriting. That broke my heart. Because they were like, oh yeah, by the way, too, we cleared all of our servers of your saved cloud data. I'm like, damn. Rest in peace to my old scripts. Yeah. See y'all up there with Tupac. But
you were Flash way before I did. I mean,
that's crazy.
I think I got my first computer in 2021. Maybe I was like 22 years old at that point.
So you already have like animators and people like that to really do that, but you do a lot of the design based off of your artwork. obviously with Mr. Pickles, because we see with, your drawings you post on Instagram or wherever you can find the art. Definitely like you have a style and it's a dope style. It's simplistic and violent, which I love. But then it can also just be way over the top, like just with the gruesome brutality. And I love rewatching Mr. Pickles too because I love you. You mentioned the background design, and I noticed all these little like Easter eggs and stuff like that. And
I put so much time into background jokes. It's
it
crazy.
it's so much detail. And
I mean, I encouraged everybody to put in background jokes,
mhm.
but each Mr. Pickles episode kind of slowed down on it. And Momma Named Me Sheriff because I didn't want to kill myself over background jokes. But each episode for Mr. Pickles, I would spend again in the studio. It was like I didn't have time to be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was no time for all those background jokes, but I would basically live in the studio over a weekend for each episode
Mhm.
and just get in as many as I could, or just like things that I wanted to see in the background.
Yeah.
Um,
But definitely
so
it paid
some,
off.
somebody notices that I appreciate it.
I appreciate you creating the cartoon because everybody I show it to
Uh,
is either like they're really into it or they're Calvin, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you show me that? And I'm like, look, I grew up on Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead and all that stuff. Like this is my parents were not very attentive when it came to me changing the channels on the TV growing up. So, and I thank them for that.
on Ren and Stimpy, I know we were talking about this the other day, but like so many people who like Mr. Pickles like Ren and Stimpy, and I totally missed out on it. We didn't have cable growing up. I would catch
Hmm.
some, Beavis and Butthead episodes at a friend's house, and that was like a nice treat. But
Hmm.
we didn't have anything like that. So Ren and Stimpy, though, I missed out. It's like something I've caught episodes here and there, but I need to maybe. Does it still hold up?
Well, there was a bunch of like, it was something where like the main creator. There's a bunch of drama behind Ren and Stimpy, but apparently he was like, you know, liked girls younger than him. So, people can Google this shit. Okay. Anyway.
Like the way I kind of, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I didn't would have expected I did see. I'm
Hmm.
kind of like that now. Like I don't um watch a lot of cartoons because I kind of like living in my own world and just doing my thing. I mean, of course, I watch some things, and
Hmm.
now that I have a 2-year-old, I definitely watch a lot of animated things.
You've
But
probably seen Baby Shark way
no,
too many times.
it's we were past that phase.
Thank God.
But yeah,
Okay.
it
I'm happy
was
for you.
it was in my head every day for about a year straight.
Those
But
those
but
catchy multi-million making
yeah.
bastards. It,
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I kind of was just from certain things growing up, and I don't know. I kind of still way in some
mhm.
ways, I guess. But
Yeah, I guess
you know,
like a similar way with me and like my music production. Like I started making like, hip hop instrumentals and stuff back in like I think I started like 2007-ish, like fucking with like GarageBand on like Macintosh, and I was like, this is confusing as hell. And then, then I moved on to like Fruity
terrible.
Loops and stuff. But it's yeah, don't even get me started on GarageBand. They're like, hey, you can only buy
Still
our
terrible.
plugins. Yeah. It's like, hey, we
Yeah.
only have these like it pisses me off so much whenever I'm watching a show and I hear a GarageBand loop from like 2005 and I'm just all
Use the
like
garage band.
I'm like, is this just royalty free now? Is this what's happening?
This was garage band just to kind of dick around on guitar and write
Hmm.
some joke songs. That was never any good. But I got tired of using it just didn't make a lot of sense and it was hard to edit.
Yeah.
I switched over to Logic, but I swear I got too frustrated with it. It was like
Yeah.
rare occurrence that I had enough motivation to like spend the night working on music. All that energy, it would take me like 2 hours to try and figure out how to understand Logic again and all of that. And I was just like, the 2 hours just
Yeah, 2 hours
two
of just
hours
trying
is
to
up. I'm
figure it
like,
out.
fuck it. No, I'm not cut out for this.
Now I just sample vinyl records, and then I just tweak it inside the program in Ableton Live 11, which has been the program I've been using. So I started with like Ableton Live 8 around like 2010. A friend showed me basically how to use the user interface, and I've just been kind of hooked ever since.
I feel like uh, that's something I could really sink my teeth into. I don't know if I have the patience anymore to like learn a new craft.
I can, you know what?
But
I'll show you how to use Ableton. I got you. It's pretty
because I
simple.
used to be an editor, and it seems like it's kind of
Mhm.
similar, right? You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
essentially, yeah. If you can read audio waveforms, like, because when I
yeah.
started out doing filmmaking, that was like 2003. That's how I gained the name Not Porn. Is that we lived in South Florida. Yeah, like we'd walk outside and I have a camera. People in Florida like they always thought they were the most clear. Be like, hey man, what y'all doing? y'all making a porn? And we'd always be like, no, it's not porn. We're filming skate videos. And
They'd they'd always say that. You get that often.
it was pretty common, frequent enough for my friend Felipe to be like, hey man, we should call our videos Not Porn. And I remember my response to him was, that's the stupidest fucking name I've ever heard. And now 19, I don't know, 20 years later, pretty much, like I am still sticking with the name Not Porn because it's memorable, you know? It's simple. Remember, I met the comedian Dave Attell, and I asked him for like a shout out. Remember Dave Attell? You know, he's a comedy love. He's like Not Porn. He's like, what the fuck is that? Some Christian anti, like some pro life shit? What the fuck? So, and then 2003, there wasn't like spam. You know, it wasn't all like, hey, here's a fucking porn link. I can't even change like my YouTube channel name to like Not Porn and like a lot of other stuff. They're like, you can't have porn in your name like when you register for something.
Yeah,
I'm like
that makes
motherfuckers.
sense.
Yeah. So I ended up changing my name to like Bob Dolemite. So
Oh,
I figured I'd take Bob Dole,
oh.
then Rudy Ray Moore's Dolemite, just mash those together. But anyway, enough about me. I got more questions for you. I remember reading one article where your inside joke about like censoring stuff for Adult Swim was, oh, just throw a bush on top of it, or throw a bush in front of it, or a cloud.
Yeah, that was something we did a lot with. Anytime there was like characters having sex or
Mhm.
humping each other, like
Raping
it
a
happened a
bear.
lot when like it usually happened with Bigfoot, because like Bigfoot,
Yeah.
when he made an appearance in a few episodes, and his story is that he's not really Bigfoot. He was an Italian guy
Hmm.
who was in
He
the
had to,
mafia,
he
and
had
he
to
went into
join
the
the
witness protection
witness protection.
program,
Yeah.
and so they modified him to look like a Bigfoot. They like gave him longer legs and implanted hair on his
Yeah.
body,
Covered him for.
extended his forehead, and put
Yeah.
him out in the woods. But he's having sex with animals all
Yeah. He's having sex with a
the
deer. He
time.
has a half deer baby later on. I thought that shit was hilarious. Hey, Papa.
Oh yeah, dear. I did the voice for Dear Boy. I don't know if I could still do it. He was pitched up a little bit,
Yeah.
5%, but he was like, hey yo, it's me, Dear Boy.
Hey yo, it's me, dear boy. Yeah.
Hey Tommy,
Hey,
Tommy, you
Tommy.
ever seen your own butthole? Hey
Yeah,
yo,
that's the
Tommy.
point. That's. Oh my god. There's just so much content jam packed into every single episode. It's like you have to watch it multiple times to get all that level of detail. Because if you only just watch it once and you like check your phone, like you just miss so much shit. Like I'm one of those people. I get like I will pause and rewind if you miss 3 seconds of anything. I'm like,
I am too.
I'm showing you this for a reason. Pay attention, otherwise I have to explain it.
Uh, yeah, it was for me the first time I saw that way back in the day, and then Mr. Pickles was definitely fast.
Hmm.
At the first season's the fastest, and then season two we started slowing it down more, and I think season three it got even slower, and it kind of like a nice. There's a
Hmm.
point where it would feel too slow. So Mr. Pickles was good, played a little fast. Plus, I'm trying to jam, all the story points that you need for a full story which normally would be in a 22-minute episode, jamming in that into an 11-minute episode. It
Yeah.
was crazy to edit. I had so many tricks up my sleeve to
Yeah.
try and take what was usually an 18-page script, 15 to 20-page script,
Hmm.
get that down to 11 minutes, and not only get all the best jokes from the script and the story, but add a bunch more.
And for anybody unfamiliar with the screenwriting process, usually one page of a screenplay equals 1 minute on screen. So yeah, if it's 22 pages, you're trying to force it into 11, you have to cut that in half. Maybe use a smaller font size. Not sure. Maybe might be different tricks, or just make that shit fast as fuck. Which I feel like you really accomplished greatly.
Thanks. A lot of times I'd have to cut moments from the storyline and rewrite it in the edit.
Yeah.
But a lot of the best moments came from that. Moments from Mr. Pickles that weren't scripted. They just came out of like, oh shit, we don't have room for this. We gotta cut it, and then somehow like we back together. And I guess like that kind of pressure in general for me is usually the enemy of
Yeah.
creativity.
Yeah.
But at the
Absolutely.
same time, it can be a friend, and that it forces you to like, all right, I got to figure this out now, and then you
Hmm.
get into a different kind of creative space where you come up with solutions you wouldn't otherwise come up with if you were just taking your time.
Yeah. And sure, I'm sure too, like having someone else like help with the writing process and all that too, be like, all right, cool. Like, cause, yeah, from what I read, it was like, I forget which interview it was. You were like, yeah, I really like to have complete control over this. Like I'm kind of a control freak. Like Mr. Pickle is like, I want this to be exactly how I want it to be. Like, so I'm sure probably some of those points were probably like heartbreaking. Like, oh, I fucking love this scene so much. We spent hours just perfecting this one part, but now it won't make the cut. Be was there anything like that where you were just like, how many moments do you think you had like that where it's just all like, oh, I worked so hard on this, but now it's not gonna work?
Put my heart and soul into Mr. Pickles
Yeah.
so much that I basically had no life outside of it.
Yeah.
When there was definitely obviously tons of things we had to cut, but I can't think of a single thing that like, oh, I wish that made it in there, because when there was something I didn't have room for, I would just basically not sleep. I would just
Mm,
wouldn't go home. I would sleep in the office, and I
mm,
would or stay the weekend. I would just pull extra hours and try to figure out how to. We're talking like this at this point in the stage. This is not in animate. This is before animation.
mm,
This is I'm working with the storyboards, the animatic, and the edit,
yeah.
and usually temp voices. So I have like access to a booth, so I'm popping in and out. I'm rewriting. I'm
Mm,
drawing and editing it all in
yeah.
one complete package.
Yeah. You're doing like
So I would
storyboarding, all
usually,
that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and I definitely had to like find a lot of creative ways of, but I think everything that I really loved from that show made it in. I
That's
think
awesome.
for
Yeah.
sure. So,
I love
but
that
yeah,
show.
Momma Named Me Sheriff. I started backing off a little bit. I think I only directed the first episode, and
Oh,
then
really?
and only edited that episode as well. And then that was when I started letting other people edit and
Okay.
kind of uh, direct the episodes.
To kind
So
of relinquish a little bit of control to not
yeah, it
have an
was
aneurysm.
that was challenging, but also it was nice. It was very
Hmm.
cool to see things from other people's point of views, and it was a lot of times I had to ask myself, like when I'm giving feedback to another director or editor, it's like, all right, before I speak, like try to think, like, all right, do I not like something because I was picturing it, or is it important? Does it affect the story?
Hmm.
So I would kind of have to figure out that before I like gave any feedback. And then I got into like a nice glide with working with some really talented people.
Definitely.
So
Yeah,
ever since
definitely.
then, it's hard for me to get back into editing.
Yeah, I hear you completely because when I start off doing like skateboard videos, that's where like I found my rhythm for like editing video. Because like you take a track and stuff, you're like, all right, cool, my buddy's gonna, do a blunt slide down this staircase, blah blah blah. It's like we got to make this go. Wow. So I learned how to like read the audio waveforms. I know from a young age that helped with my music a lot, because then you can actually see the waveforms, move it around, chop it at the exact millisecond, all that stuff, and yeah. So I feel you when it comes to hating editing now.
Thing I'd have to do. You're talking about reading the waveforms. I mean, another one of the tricks that I used to get the episode shorter was we Dave and I would always be like, all right, we need some faster takes,
Hmm.
so we'd always try to get fast takes, but typically that usually wasn't enough. So I would have to go into the waveform and cut the air out of all kinds of things,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
out of the words.
it's like the overexcitable YouTube gamers. They're like, "Hey guys, what's up?" You don't even hear them breathe or anything like that. So, is there like anything that like someone on your writing team proposed, and you were just all like, "That's too much for Mr. Pickles"?
Probably was. I think like anything that was going to get a reaction like that from me would probably be if something was just lame,
Hmm.
like something
Yeah.
like cheesy kind of gore, like
Okay. Cool. So nothing really too extreme. It was just like this just isn't
it's
meeting
in
the
bad
standard.
taste. There was
Yeah.
something that was just like, hey, this is just going to be shocking, and it's just bad taste, and there's like
Yeah. There's no
many
motivation
things
behind
that
it.
were messed up and shocking in Mr. Pickles, but you know, everything has to kind of also it has to fit what the character would do. It has
Hmm.
to be in the right sensibility,
Yeah.
of the show. It has to like go along with the story, push the story. All the jokes have to be pushing the story.
That's
So I don't know. I don't think there's like I mean, like get into like religious stuff too much. That
mhm.
was a thing. 'Cause, I mean, one, I think religious jokes can be easy, and it's like,
Yeah.
two, it's like a lot of people in my family are religious, and it doesn't. Mr. Pickles doesn't need to go into the area, so I just wanted to like out of respect
Hmm.
for my family or other people. It's like this is a crazy dog. This isn't about religion. This is its own thing.
This
So
is just the
um,
wildest border collie you've ever fucking seen.
yeah, you just don't want to get down to just like easy jokes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's tempting a lot of times, but
Yeah, I've been tempted with
uh,
my screenwriting for my cartoon, but we'll see if that even becomes a pilot episode ever. My friend keeps on trying to convince me not to do it, and I'm like, no, man. I've had this idea bouncing in my brain for 2000 since 2004.
done.
I just don't want to end up being like the Bill Maher of animation. Like, look, okay, here's why Christians are terrible. Okay, I'm the smartest man on the earth. So like, okay, Bill Maher, great, awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that covers probably most of my artistic questions. So, business questions about the animation industry, definitely. So the first time we talked on the phone, you were mentioning that when you were pitching the cartoon to the Adult Swim, uh, whoever was it, whoever it was at Adult Swim, I wasn't sure if it was like Mike Lazo directly or someone underneath him. Not sure how Adult Swim works, like internally. But you said that they had a Culvert City Adult Swim office, and that's where you met to meet up with the Mr. Pickles pitch. So, what was your approach to that, and how do you think it went? Did
So they were actually in Burbank, where I live, Cartoon Network. They've recently moved, I think, but yeah, we didn't pitch for Pickles the first pitch. We pitched another idea. I had made a like animated sizzle reel in a sense of some
Mhm.
characters. Um, Dave and I wrote for a pilot episode. that's what we pitched. We pitched to Walter Newman.
Okay.
Theo pitched the pilot episode, and then the idea. Walter and Lazo liked the idea, but that's not the show they wanted to make.
Hmm.
They wanted us to give them 5 more ideas. They could be as short as a sentence or two,
Yeah.
and we pick one to kind of developing, and see where
Yeah.
it goes.
Also,
And
too, if
so we
sorry to interrupt real quick. If you could just speak just a little bit louder, I think the compression thing is kind of cutting off the beginning of the sentence. So sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt.
so anyway,
So I was at Adult Swim. Damn
so
technology.
long story short, they were just like, we want to do something. We want to do something different than what you pitched us, though. So we
Mhm.
came up with 5 ideas, and Mr. Pickles was like a ideas. It was like a sentence long or something like that. Dave and I wrote like 500 ideas,
500
and Mr.
ideas.
Pick, and then like, so they picked Mr. Pickles, and Dave and I were bummed at first.
Oh,
That was our
no.
least favorite. It almost didn't even make the top 5, like the list. Oh man. So we told them that, like, hey, this is our least favorite idea. Can we give you 5 more? And they were like, okay. So we wrote up more ideas, and they picked that one again, which wasn't on the new list. But we were like, all right, well, I guess we got to figure this out. So what changed our opinion on it was that the original idea was, it was going to be set in the 50s. So like Lassie was initially
Mhm.
kind of more like a Lassie parody. But
Yeah.
then when we sat with it and like, all right, there's that pressure, I guess, we
Mm.
gotta figure out how to make this something that we like, or we can't, we're not gonna make something just to like, we have to like it. You gotta have that passion for it. Anyway, we kind of set it in modern time,
Mhm.
gave us opportunities for characters we could relate to, bring our sensibility to. And so then like the town just came alive.
Yeah.
Pretty
And it's
crazy. So
it
it went from idea we weren't crazy about to like, oh yeah,
to a very
Adult Swim
successful
is
cartoon.
like, I don't know exactly what they saw, you know, uh, before we made it a more of a modern town, but that's what we saw when we started
Mhm.
changing it. And
That is so interesting.
process.
So it was your least favorite idea out of the 10 pitches, pretty much. And they were like,
I
no,
think,
we
yeah,
really like the crazy dog and murder. And just like, I love, like, Linda is one of the best characters ever. Tell Dave I said that. And
oh
also,
well,
too, I,
Linda's great.
I didn't even know until I was like really started doing like deep dives. I'm like, because I nerd out about this stuff, been nerding out about animation forever. So I'm like, who did the voice acting for like, this cartoon character? Like, what a unique voice. I didn't know you do the voice of Sheriff. Oh yeah, hey
And
mama, I gotta.
known to say a thing or two in his voice, my voice, and me.
It's just, I gotta go get my roller. I gotta. What's the doll's name?
Abigail.
No, that's Abigail.
Abigail.
Yeah, she's a good
That's
girl.
Abigail. Where's Abigail? She's around here somewhere, probably sleeping in the cupboard. Sleeping in the
It's
cupboard,
just
dreaming until I wake her up for tea and scrumpets.
pretend scrumpets.
Oh, I don't think Sheriff's ever said scrumpets before, but
He should.
I don't know.
Maybe
It's
that's.
weird. I can like I feel like
You could write that in if it
Sheriff's
can fit in the next episode. Get some scrumpets. Okay, we got
made.
hot tub full of nipples. More hot tub full of nipples. Hot tub full of nipples. You posted that the other day, and I'm like, oh fuck, it's so genius.
Yeah, I came across that on a hard drive. I was like, oh man, that's one of my favorite episodes. Hanging out down in Mr. Pickles' lair. So many. Yeah, I was just thinking. Uh, Sheriff's made so many. oh, Had so many scenes in various episodes. There's like in my head, I see like so many different things that he can do.
Absolutely. Like, I just love like,
Like he's
was it the first
different.
episode of the first season was just all about hats? He's like, you have to wear the
Yeah.
sheriff's hat, otherwise they won't respect you. It's just all this fucking chaos there. I was just, it's like,
Sheriff's brain. It doesn't work too well sometimes,
I
but
think it
sometimes it doesn't
works
not do that.
works a lot better than a lot of people I know. Definitely, most likely mine. I mean, I prefer to rollerblade than roller skate, but I'm getting too old to skateboard now. So, oh geez, yeah, just it's kind of difficult. But I love that voice. It's just so funny to have the town sheriff be like the stupidest guy that can't solve like any crime. He's just totally inept and inadequate to wear the sheriff's
Was
badge.
kind of
It's
It
just
was
such
kind
a
of
genius character.
necessary, like
Absolutely.
to have a character like that. For like you needed Grandpa and you needed Sheriff for
Yes.
Mr. Pickles to work. The reason that you need Sheriff is because you need the one person who's catching bad guys to be, not so on it all the
Yeah.
time.
That way Mr. Pickles could keep on getting away with all of his
Yeah,
crimes. Yeah, and
and
then Grandpa's just being called crazy all the time. It's like, oh, that's just Grandpa. He has dementia. No, I'm serious. Mr. Piggly's hiding bodies underneath the doghouse. Like I saw it with my own eye. And he keeps on. I just love how much he terrorizes Grandpa. Like he's
he was like in a lot of ways he was the voice of Mr. Pickles because Mr. Pickles is the main character, but he doesn't talk.
Mhm.
Really, kind of Tommy's usually the main character,
Yeah.
but Mr. Pickles, being the main character, you need Grandpa to explain what he's doing. No, he's doing this.
Yeah.
This is what Mr. Pickles was doing last night.
Yeah, Grandpa's just being a snitch, and nobody believes him. He's like the whistleblower, and like I don't know if this analogy would work. It's like Mr. Pickles being like Trump, be like, "That's a lie, total fabrication. I did not do it." Mr. Mr. And Grandpa's just everybody else being like, "I saw it directly. It's on audio and video." It's like, oh fuck, we lost the footage. Mr. Pickles destroyed the camera. It's just so fucking funny. Like that's what I just love. Is like shows with like different layers, whether it goes from background art to just the storyline as well as the character development itself. Like I remember when I went to school for screenwriting, they would make us do, the character profile sheets. Like, okay, like what do they look like? What's their age? What's their beliefs, blah, blah, blah. Just as much detail as you can write about the character. And that really helps cement who they are in a series or in a movie. And, you were even nice enough too to read just a very quickly, poorly written screenplay that I sent you for a cartoon idea for a pilot. And you were like, I like the jokes and stuff. It's like, maybe this structure. Would you like me to send you this, sheet? Just explain it. I'm like, yes, man. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Like, you're such a nice guy. I appreciate it. I'm sure if somebody saw like the cartoon and never, like heard you speak, or like in this video, this is the first time them ever hearing you speak, they'd probably be like, this guy's a fucking psycho. Like he's, but in reality, you're like the nicest, like most soft-spoken dude. You're just super chill as fuck, but you make the craziest shit. It's just so much fun.
Maybe I should put that little story structure checklist I gave you. Maybe I should just kind of like post that online somewhere.
Yeah, I know there's definitely places online where you can find like similar guides and stuff, but it's usually people being like, "I'll teach you how to write a best-selling screenplay." Like, I'm like, man, if I'm not producing it like either independently myself, like if I'm gonna sell it to a studio and they don't allow me full creative control, you might as well just kiss whatever passion project you had, just throw it away and forget about it because you're gonna get your heart broken. Because you hear about all these people, they write a 90-page screenplay, and then they have like the most important parts taken out, or they switch out the main character, so it totally derives like the entire movie in the script and the way that it was supposed to go, in the creator's eyes. And they're just like, yeah, but this will make more money. So
They're like the most of the work is not in the scripting. It's in some index cards on a wall.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
it's like the basic plot points, getting them to and do what you want,
Mhm.
and the outline and then the script. But
Yeah, you always have to have the different scenes at the beginning, middle, and end. It needs to make some sense, or it has to be completely and utterly random, and you just have to stick to that. Like you can do like another Adult Swim show off the air, or yeah, off the air, where it's just like a compilation of like just a bunch of weird shit, but it still has a theme to the animations that are made by all these different creative teams and individual animators and stuff like that, and it's fucking awesome. It's kind of like I don't know if you've seen, was it Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix?
Just
Man,
started watching the new season recently,
yeah.
and yeah, I really like the animation style in episodes that I saw. I think I saw a couple episodes of season one, and then none of season two,
Mhm.
and then I caught a couple episodes of season three.
Yeah.
Hardly any story,
Mhm.
but kind of refreshing. It's like that's like some. It's you know story structure in my own stuff. I want
Mhm.
to have the right turns and the right moments. But like when I see something that doesn't have that, which is rare,
Mhm.
sometimes it's nice.
Yeah.
Like I think to kind of like to do that, you have to have that understanding of story structure first before
Mhm.
you break those rules.
I feel like if people who like only go to school for screenwriting and they're like they follow the teacher's work or assignments like 100%, they're like you can never do this. I remember my cinematography teacher was all like no Dutch angles. So nothing, like everything has to be parallel with the ground. Like, dude, you just have obsessive compulsive disorder and you just like everything to be right angles. I'm like, tell that to all these successful movies like um oh my god, the new Michelle Yeoh movie, the Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Is it great?
It made me cry,
It,
which I am like, I had my tear ducts removed years ago by the military. I'll get into that on the next episode. But it's they're like Marines don't cry, and I'm like, well, fine. And then no, just kidding, totally not military, no false valor. Um, someone's just gonna take a clip of that, and I'm gonna get canceled for being broke. Like, how can you cancel me? I'm not even making any money yet. Literally have $11 in my bank account. Come on, I'm trying to do something here.
they replace your tear ducts with
Just scar tissue. Yeah, just keloids.
like cry blood or something. Beer,
No, it's
malt
just
liquor.
I have to. It's kind of like Clockwork Orange, where they have to put the eye drops in every hour. So my eyes are so clear right now. It's
If they replaced it with like malt liquor tears, you could just get sad and then cry tears right in your mouth, and that would cheer you up.
yeah, it's just kind of like a self-cycling. Yeah, so I heard like some fish do that. Like they don't drink the ocean water, they recycle their own urine. Anyway, so so one thing I've noticed too, especially like I was just watching an interview with Mike Judge. He was on Joe Rogan promoting the new Beavis and Butthead movie, which also was fucking amazing and had me wanting to cry but unable to because lack of tear ducts. And it was, but I was laughing so hard I literally had to pause multiple times and stop and breathe because it's like my childhood, so you get the nostalgia thrown into it. And then it's also kind of similar to the first movie. It's the second movie. The first one was in 1998. But like Mike Judge got fucked so hard by MTV regarding like controlling like the rights to Beavis and Butthead. It was like he made like 3 or 4 little short films, submitted them to like a little animation festival, and then someone was just all like, "Yo, we like this idea. Like, you want to make a cartoon?" And like, we'll give you like X amount of money for owning this cartoon for like you know 10 years and all the rights to it and merchandising and DVD sales and all that. What are some red flags or something that maybe you've experienced before, Mr. Pickles, that you would tell like amateur animators or anybody looking to get into animation? I guess it would apply to filmmaking and stuff too. Contractually, what would you show up armed with? Like an agent? Do you have a business lawyer going over all this stuff? Are you just being like, oh, okay, I actually know how to read all this? And I was like,
Recently, that's crazy.
considering how much money Beavis and Butthead has made,
terrible at understanding all that kind of contract.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, with agents too much.
Hmm.
Uh, but getting Mr. Pickles picked up and all of that just had a manager.
Okay.
The manager can kind of act like an agent, but then also had an entertainment lawyer.
Yes.
Entertainment lawyer is going to be who's going to be in charge of that contract.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
all kinds of different entertainment lawyers, and that's probably the least of my expertise in this
Yeah.
in cartoon making.
Yeah. It's
But
kind of difficult to find
yeah,
like, yeah, like, do you just Google like animation entertainment lawyer? Just the first Google ad that pops up. I'll use that guy. Cool. He only takes 80% of the rights to my work.
and somebody if you need one, somebody else that you know. So it's like if you did one, like let me know, and I'll try to see if I know somebody. I think that's it's so hard to trust people sometimes.
Hmm.
So it's like I usually go with people who by somebody else I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about the agent world. Um, Contracts, when it comes to that, I usually just have a lawyer kind of
Hmm.
explain it to me in
Yeah.
simpler terms.
Yeah. Just break it down and be like,
But yeah, but
this is what they're pitching. Like, they want this percentage of this. You'll get this percentage. So, because another question too that I had related to that was like, so like streaming services and stuff. Like after you, like not to get into like specific numbers, because I'm sure there's probably like non-disclosure agreement or something with Adult Swim. So that way creators aren't being like, well, they got this much for this cartoon. I want that much for that cartoon. They're like, no, bro, like your cartoon, this is how much it costs to animate and this is how much you're gonna make. Like, do you just get paid like per season? Or do you also get like royalties like from each time it's being streamed? Kind of similar to like how music is.
voice acting
You get paid per voice acting.
part of SAG after, so
Yeah.
there are royalties with voices.
Yeah, and SAG, for anybody who doesn't know, is a Screen Actors Guild. So it's basically a union that helps protect, actors, essentially. So, which I think I might still be a member of. I don't know.
It's funny, like out after a while, uh, checks will wind up being like 1 cent, 4 cents. Like, why are we wasting this much paper? It's like I'll have like
Yeah,
10
literally the check
checks
that
for
it was
like
printed on costs
yeah,
more than what I'm getting.
yeah,
Yeah, I
for like
just
10 checks, and it's like if I was to deposit all these checks, it would go like 12 cents. It's like,
God damn. Yeah. So basically,
but
so a little bit of that audio had ducked out. So basically, so you just get paid for just making the cartoon and doing the voice acting. And then, probably like the expense of the team to animate it, to advertise for it and all that stuff, then whatever's left is yours. And then you also get the SAG checks. It's kind of like with music, like I put my music, Dolemite, on all streaming platforms. Excuse me. Uh, it's so like I know Spotify pays like 0.0000003 of a cent like per listen or like per stream of one song if they listen to the song in its entirety. And you only get paid if you get like a minimum amount of streams like per month or whatever. Like, you have to like meet a quota just to get paid. Otherwise, it's just you're just putting it out there for free and not getting any checks. Yeah, and you can register with BMI
uh,
or ASCAP for music stuff. And it like
change.
it's
I think
overwhelming to
I
keep
think
up with.
music. I mean, right now, NFTs are transition to NFTs, but like
Mhm,
right now they're known mostly for art. But I think that what's coming is, and they're already starting is music. Like
mhm.
people getting like this is the first time an artist can really get royalties for art.
Mhm.
Getting into that at all, or what are your
I've mostly just been keeping it as just kind of a passion project. Just like, I don't really collaborate with other people. I kind of just do it as kind of like a meditative thing and just because I enjoy, just making this stuff. And if I can make some money from it, if someone can, purchase an album, cool. I made, $17, even though I listed it for 20 because this one website, it'll charge you. Oh, it costs $3, that we have to take out just to transfer it to your account. It's like, dude, I spent a year making that album. Like all we're doing now is sitting on our phones or watching Netflix. And I just find it so amazing that artists get still paid like the least. Like you look at someone who owns like a piece of Amazon or like like during the pandemic, Amazon was all like, okay, start your own LLC. We'll help you with your startup and stuff. And basically you'll be in charge of those workers. And if they hurt themselves, they can sue you, but not Amazon. And it's like, oh shit, these are the motherfuckers that are making mad money though. But us just trying to do our own thing and like make art is like, you get nothing.
I think that's going to start changing more and more. At least that's the kind of
Yeah, well, definitely with newer generations
vision
now.
I have.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
hoping too. It's just been a lot of waiting around for it. But like even like doing stand-up comedy too, like you have to be on the road for like 15 years. You like all, like you have to like start in like herpes commercials, be like, it cured my cold sore, and then like people will maybe discover you 7 years later. So it's just and that's if like you're really good.
I think that there's some it's about taking the long road. I definitely took the
Hmm.
long road in a lot of ways, and there's a fast way to do something, and then there's a long way, and there's pros and cons of both. But
Hmm.
you do something long enough, you still by the like 7 years in,
Hmm.
still are passionate enough about it to do it, whether or not you're making that. Chances are high that you're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I prefer the slower road. It's like take your time, like really figuring out your craft,
Hmm.
making mistakes, and
Yes.
then learning from them.
That is the only way that I learn is to make a mistake. And I know that from my multiple arrests. Luckily, no felonies. I'm all like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that again. Or, cost me $10,000 in court. That's really fun. I love jail. This is great. You know,
Slow road.
yeah, it's really fun. Get a lot of good content out of it. A lot of good dialogue in jail.
That
You're just there for 15 days. You're like, I have an idea for a character. This is awesome.
good writing time in. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, that's all you can do. So there are like a bunch of really talented animators and stuff that just do stuff through YouTube, and then they, like they found their loophole where they're just all like, hey, if you really enjoy our cartoons, and filmmakers and other people too, comedians as well, they're like, hey, support me on Patreon. You can get this stuff like a couple days early or whatever. And I'm wondering if that's probably now, like, similar with kind of like NFTs, like going to be the future of like making sure that you have assets that you can control. You don't have to like answer to somebody that says like, no, you can't do this on this movie. We hate this idea. Throw this one away. You can never talk about this. Yeah, people either post stuff to like their website after they get like, a couple 100,000 YouTube followers. And then they'll be like, cool, if you want the uncensored version of the cartoon, join the Patreon. You get exclusive content on this website. You get it, 2 days before everybody else can see it, blah, blah, blah. I think that's kind of a good way to do it. But
I don't know too much about Patreon. I haven't tried it, but I didn't realize until you said that it is kind of similar to NFTs. That it's about controlling, the content
mhm,
or the IP.
yeah.
Yeah, I do think that just in general, that's they're gravitating towards. That's where we're going. Is the artist kind of have more control.
Yeah.
At least I hope so. Um, but yeah, I don't know exactly what that looks like.
Mhm.
Right? But I think things will start folding more rapidly soon.
Yeah, it seems like
But
since
yeah,
everything is kind of collapsing around us right now, like, America and everything and gas prices and, Republicans versus
pretty crazy.
Democrats and blah 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 blah. Can we all just get along, please? Like why does everybody
Gotta have
gotta be
some
upset all the
peace.
time? Yeah. That's
No,
that's
it's
all we
tough.
want. That's why I just stay inside my studio area and this is just wall of vinyl, 3D printer, drawing tablet, gaming computer, VR headset, big ass TV, iPad, Android tablet. 2 turntables, mixer, microphone, more vinyl, and then clothes in bed, and that's it. And then just
Self with the things you like. Self from bad energy, these days. Like,
yeah, because it's really easy for it to get to you.
yeah, I mean, it can definitely happen to me. Looking at the news all the time, and it's just negativity then goes into me, and then can that go out from me into other people. I got a little 2-year-old now, so I want to like
Yeah,
all the time around him.
yeah.
So I kind of a little more guarded these days with looking at news. I don't look at it as much as I used to, but I don't want to be like completely in the dark.
Yeah.
I
I just go
funny,
outside and I'm like, damn, why is gas so high? Because I don't watch any cable news at all. My parents watch it. So like I'll like, be in the kitchen or some shit like that. They'll be like, and today 11 people were shot in the face and 36 wounded. I'm like, that's fucking heartbreaking. And if I sit there and watch the whole thing, I'm like, internalize it. Because, I consider myself pretty much, very empathetic and open to people. I'm hoping the future changes for the better. Hopefully there will be a future.
Yeah, man.
Because everybody's lost their shit. But anyway, back to more. Yeah, fuck that negativity shit. Get that shit out of here. Oh, what? Wait. Oh, let me add a graphic. Oh, what is that? You? Oh, is that you? Negativity? Get the fuck out of here. Okay, I'll just put the word negativity there. Animated off screen. I probably won't do that. But imagine it. Use your imagination. That's ultimately what this conversation is about. Use your imagination.
If the product was real, I'd buy it.
Yeah. I'm gonna do like the Alex Jones shit. It clears your drinking water. It's great. Comes with a free megaphone. It's so.
That's on the show.
Sure. and none of them work. So you did the voices for your own cartoon as well, but you also had, I mean, just an amazing cast of characters also doing voices on there too. Like I'll just read off a couple of them. So you have, Iggy Pop, Weird Al Yankovic, our buddy Trevor Moore was in one episode. Rest in peace to Trevor Moore. We miss you and we love you. Love you, Trev. So aside from Trevor Moore, we have Andy Richter, which Conan O'Brien, my favorite talk show host ever. And Andy that motherfucker can improvise.
He played the dad in the Shoes episode. He was the sitcom dad who was like a catcher. I don't know if you saw that episode. Tommy has befriended a pair of robotic shoes that he's wearing that talk, but the shoes are like wanted by the military. They were military made. We got to find a safe place. And so they're like running from the military, and then they run up to this house that has a sign that says a safe place. And then they go inside, and it's like sitcom is happening, like an 80s or 90s sitcom. And they interrupt a scene that's being filmed. And the director yells, "Cut!" Like, what do you guys just ruined the scene? And anyway, the shoes.
Doesn't the shoes get cast onto the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get cast on the show.
I want you. You're fired. I want these shoes. And then you see the show intro, and you get like one little short scene with the characters, where you realize it's all just to kind of get shoes. Like the military are acting like TV show directors.
See, I was confusing that one with
shoes. Yeah.
I was confusing that one with the sour pucker ball sidekick guy that shoved it up his butt.
Yeah.
And then he has a mech suit in the back. Oh my god.
Pucker voice, but I can't remember if I did his voice or
not. And also too, I mean, Brooke Shields plays Tommy's mom. Oh my god. Stephen Root, like, who is an absolute genius in every single thing he does. Milton from Office Space. You have
episode telemarketers.
Awesome. Yeah, I have to.
It was great to work with.
So not only him, John Waters, legendary. Amy Sedaris, Strangers with Candy. Tom Kenny, of course, the legendary voice of SpongeBob SquarePants and pretty much every cartoon that's ever existed.
Uh, Kevin Pucker did the sidekick guy.
Is that the guy that it was the guy I just mentioned? That they had to shove the pucker balls up his butt to get high. It's like crack, but then his whole face just puckers out. It's like lemon heads with crack. It was awesome. I'd probably try that.
About that episode, Kevin Pucker was something I'll give Adult Swim credit for. Was that the original storyline wasn't that he was addicted to uh, well, the story is that he's a this like a Superman type
Mhm.
superhero.
Yeah.
His downfall is that he becomes addicted to shoving super sour candy balls up his ass,
Yeah.
and that makes your face pucker. That's shoving pucker. But
Yeah.
the original story that we pitched to Adult Swim season 2 didn't have sour balls in there. He was just addicted to like a regular drug. And
Yeah.
Adult Swim pushed us to like let's make it something crazier and weirder
Yeah.
with Shovin' Pucker, which is the ultimate name of the episode. And
And it still
let's
makes my
something
face cramp from laughing so hard.
good.
So good. It's just
And
so
it's one of
genius.
the best episodes, I think.
Absolutely.
So sometimes a little push from Adult Swim like that goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, because anybody can just have a crackhead in their cartoon, but if you invent an entirely new drug, that's exactly what they did. But yes, you've also had Tracy Morgan, who's one of my favorite people ever. Oh my god. Andy Daly, genius. Absolute genius. Just the straight face and the improvisation and I'm a nice corporate guy and but this is like he did some show on Comedy Central. It was like something with Andy Daly, and it's like him. He's like, I remember my favorite episode was him. He's like, it's like a writer writes in like, can you try crack cocaine or something? Then he like loses his whole family and is just like addicted to crack. And he's like, oh no, I'll be right back. No, it's not really that serious. Like, oh my god. Then you have Pamela Adlon too. She played Bobby on King of the Hill, as well as a bunch of other voices too. I didn't realize in the '90s growing up. I didn't know that she did that stuff. And then you had Steve-O in one episode. I have to look up which episode that was, and then also including Henry Rollins too.
So in the vegans episode, he's the
Oh
pizza
yeah, because
guy.
he's
He
very
shows up. Yeah,
he's very
and Henry Rollins, so nice, so great to work with.
awesome.
I mean, Steve-O and everybody else as well, all great to work with. Henry, he really loved the character that he played in the Shoes episode. It's kind of like this, like he was the militant leader trying to catch this
Oh, the vegans.
talking pair of no, not the vegans. He's in the Shoes episode,
Okay, sorry. I thought you were saying
but
he's the vegans guy. Sorry, my mistake.
he really liked that character and got a lot of gave that character a soul. But yeah, he was
Yeah.
the military leader trying to catch
Oh, okay.
this who is probably still down in Mr. Pickles' doghouse because in the last scene he gets pulled into the doghouse by one of the Steves,
Yeah.
the
Oh my gosh.
prisoners down there.
Oh my god. And I'm trying not to release any spoilers on any episodes too, in case people aren't familiar with Mr. Pickles. But if anybody does click this video, I'm pretty sure they know what they signed up for. Like it's fascinating hearing from you and like hearing like these behind the scenes stories and like the process of how it works. So when you're working with these amazing, big names and stuff like that, like how did you meet them? Or how did you get them signed up to be on Mr. Pickles? Had they seen the show and they reached out, or was it like a talent agent? Like someone through Adult Swim was all like, "Oh, we know this guy."
They have people from our studio reach out like casting went a different ways. We would you know we would just send out the sides and we would get a bunch of voices back. Other times, if we wanted like a celebrity cameo, we had somebody in mind, then we would have our people reach out to their representation.
Mhm. And from what I've seen from the Eric Andre show, sometimes that can be really easy. Because if you ever watch the Eric Andre show, a lot of these people are just celebrities. They're like, oh yeah, we're already on a press run, so let's just do this. We've never seen the Eric Andre show, and that's what makes it so funny. Like, it's just these celebrities have no idea what show they're walking into and what chaos is about to happen. But
It's one of the funniest shows ever. I saw it live once. It was
yeah,
amazing.
I love Eric Andre so much. I've actually known about him, and I've talked to him since 2005, since MySpace. I remember there was this one video that he had on his MySpace page. It must have been when he was in college or something like that. It was called Blorox Bleach. And it's just this video about him and his friends just drinking bleach. Then they're like foaming at the mouth. And like, that's the entire premise of the video. But yeah, I love Eric Andre. So you've met these people in person and witnessed them and directed them like in the same studio where they're in the booth and you're giving feedback, or was that uh usually?
Sometimes, like for instance, Henry Rollins, Rob Zombie, like
Hmm.
come into the studio. Um, if they're in LA, Iggy Pop, and we have him. We had to record with him over Skype. He
Hmm.
was in another state, so he's in another studio,
Yeah.
and we're basically, we can all hear each other, and we're kind of talking to him through a laptop. Same
Yeah.
with Tracy Morgan. Brooke Shields would come into the studio about half the time, and the other half the time would be out of a studio in New York.
That's interesting.
So
Yeah,
I would
that's
say
dope.
most of the time with celebrity cameos, they were in the studio, but we kind of got used to doing it both ways. So
Yeah,
yeah.
because that was another thing too. Is like for anybody that's like up and coming or looking to like form a team, like does location really matter where you are? Like when it comes to this creativity?
I don't. Well, definitely, I don't think it does now. Yeah, I would say it helps
Hmm.
uh, to be in the same place, and usually when you're recording with a voice actor, like a plate of glass in between you. You're in like
Hmm.
two separate rooms, and you
Yeah,
press a button, give the
yeah,
actor
the speak
some
through.
direction. I don't even like to do that. I like to be in the actual booth with,
Really?
and yeah, and I just try not to talk over their lines
You
because I
just
like to be able to just talk to them face to face.
you just kind of
You
choke them
know,
just a little bit, just so that where their voice is just a little higher. Just be like, okay, I just here 1 second. Let's try this. If you just sound like this, it's gonna be the perfect. Okay, this is what I'm hearing. Okay, can you do it without me choking you? Perfect. Yeah, it's definitely there's unique people like Dana Snyder, which is like Dana Snyder, like Richard Horvitz. Dana Snyder did the voice of Master Shake from Aqua Younger Force and Grandma from Squidbillies, and actually got this mug right here, Hell, from Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell premiere in Atlanta when I lived out there, and I hung out with Dana Snyder afterwards, and the guy who plays Satan, and I got Dana Snyder drunk, and he gave me his phone number, and now I occasionally text him and harass him. I'm like, hey, buddy. He is really such a sweet guy.
he's a good guy,
Yeah.
really funny.
Hopefully, I could get him on this episode next. He'll be like, all right, just keep it short, just a couple of. But actually, Gary Anthony Williams too, who played Uncle Ruckus. They I'll have to show you this file some other time, but it's from a Gary Anthony Williams podcast he was doing. It's like based around like bartending and cocktails and stuff. But it was him and Dana Snyder both being on there, and I left a comment like, it would be awesome to have like Master Shake and Uncle Ruckus debate something. And then it's like Gary Anthony Williams immediately goes into Uncle Ruckus.
I don't
Dana
normally do
Snyder
that.
goes
I
immediately
won't
to.
go in a full debate with you, Master Shake.
Yeah, what does not porn mean anyway?
I don't know what not porn means.
When you say not porn, it means you definitely are porn.
Agree with you.
I think we're
100%.
both in agreement this guy's a bucket of turds.
I do a terrible Dana Snyder, by the way. But
Those are good.
thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. But yeah, okay. So I would say probably like with networking at least, being in a city like Atlanta or Los Angeles and going out and meeting these people in person probably helps out more with the networking. But as far as the creativity and the production side goes, you can do all this stuff through Skype. For the most part,
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but a lot of people got used to working at home because of the pandemic.
Mhm.
I definitely liked being home. You know, it was like I had my first pandemic, so
Yeah,
it was like being home
that's
with
always really
Linda,
fun.
and that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all like, oh, great. Are we going to deliver them at the hospital or do a home birth? Awesome. Great. Yeah, now we have to
So
call the jacuzzi guy.
I've become a little more introverted after
Yeah.
not leaving the house for so long. So I was already pretty
Yeah.
much a homebody, or or I lived in the studio basically. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, I think that more and more people are realizing that they don't need. I think that
Yeah. I wish more
much
people
as
would
you did
recognize
before,
that for,
but you still do.
yeah, you still do need to show up like occasionally and stuff, but that's because I've been looking for work from home jobs, man. Like, damn, I'm all like, yo, I do not want to go drive an hour across Dallas, then an hour back. I'm like, do you guys have any idea how much gas this is wasting? like, like, I can do this. Just send me one of your crappy laptops or desktops. I can hook it up here.
Is the best scenario. So you have a studio to go to, but you can also and be connected with everybody at the studio.
Yeah.
But who knows where things are going? I don't know. I see there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah, definitely. Especially too, like if someone doesn't answer the phone or something like that, it's like, damn, where are we gonna get that background art? Where are we gonna get this animation? You know? As long as you stick with it, like you were saying, and work through it, I definitely agree with taking the slow route on stuff. Don't rush stuff and put projects out, you know. And yeah, so let's see. Aside from that, I think
Second,
we go ahead, Sam. So I think we pretty much finished it up. I don't know how long we've been recording for. Hopefully it was under an hour. Um,
or I son, a
hell yeah.
second. But this has been fun.
Man,
We
thank you
should do
so
it
much.
again sometime.
Oh, dude, if you're down, I'm down. I will probably be out of questions, but I'm also really good at just nonstop talking. So this is a hopefully I can take Conan's spot now that he quit and he's just doing podcasts. Yeah, Conan O'Brien, me and Will, the camera's reversed. Will and I, we're coming for you, Conan, and we're bringing Andy with us. He's already on our side.
Shit, I forget the name of it. It's not WILLCARSOLA.com. It's WILLCARSOLA.XYZ.
We will end it there. Will Carsola, thank you so much. If anybody else makes another Mr. Pickles sign like that, let me know. Oh, and also too, I said I was gonna send you this painting a long time ago. So it's
Dude,
yeah, it's just about the size of my head in real life. It's just the angle of the webcam. I'm very Irish. But yeah, so I definitely have to send that out your way. And then
it's only
yeah, it's actually just it's this big, but you can frame.
crazy. It looks like it's like 3 feet tall.
Yeah, it's all in post, but it's current, it's we'll fix it in post. We'll make it life size. I'll have a ruler and everything. I'll tape the width. Use the measuring tape on my head. Yeah, because I do like hats, but I just don't really know how to wear them. I like that one that you made. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know whether the hat is ever high enough or low enough. Do I show people I have a hairline? Like, hey, just so you ladies know, I saved the planet. I like gory cartoons. I still have my hairline. So, but yeah, since I bought that hat, I probably bought way too much Liquid Death merch. But anyway, again, Will Carsola, the magnificent, the god amongst men, the most Viking of beards, and also the sweetest guy ever, who's about to go spend time with his wonderful son. So that's going to be our episode, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And now here's probably something else.